again, these tough conditions out here. And as they circle around and they come down, the green flag is out, the whistle's being sounded as they slide through the commitment buoy, heading down in toward turn number 8 and 9 in the old circuit. This is the first of 18 laps, Jonathan, as we go off from this crescent moon-shaped circuit. This is something new. And here comes Bartek Marzowak, your leader, out in front. And moving up and challenging in that second place is Team Abu Dhabi driver pushing hard. And it is Thaniel Quimsey, who started down in that sixth spot. He had pushed his way toward the front.
And Steve, the boats are jumping around all over the place with those rollers coming in from the far side. They just are hanging on for grim death as they complete their first lap. But out in the front, is it changing? Is Thaniel Quimsey? Look at the conditions out there. These are certainly not perfect for Formula 1 racing. And you can see there Bartek Marzowak, all of a sudden he was leading the race, and the conditions have got so bad he's now falling way back in the field. And the guy that's taking the lead is a number 7 boat. That's Peter Moran, Team CTIC China. My goodness, these conditions are almost undrivable. They've got to be watching that they don't nosedive these boats in this lap.
Peter Moran, who started in the 4th position now, has moved himself up into the lead, and why not? You know, he's a long-distance runner. He's used to racing at Rouen in France, where there's ugly conditions and boat traffic in this old traditional 24-hour race, and so I think he's quite at home at these tough conditions. And Thaniel Quimsey trying to stay right up there with him. So Bartek Marzowak led that first lap, but right now it's Thaniel Quimsey trying to close up and get past Peter Moran. But Peter Moran, as we talked about, is used to these tough conditions, and around he goes. And they continue to move, but they're only going about 15%, 20%. Look at that, Jonathan. Some drivers are almost coming to a complete stop. These conditions are just so terrible. The drivers are trying to stay up, and you see Peter Moran almost launched the boat, teetering on the edge of disaster, somehow saved it as he almost stalled it completely, putting it up on its tail, and was able to gather it back up again.
Totally impossible, Steve. I mean, they're down from 140 odd mile an hour going down that back straight to probably 30, 35 mile an hour as they hang on for grim death, trying to get around that circuit. And a lot of them, did you see that boat there? That is Ben Jelf, I believe. The entire boat almost sunk out there. Did you see the water coming over?
Eric Stark, the driver from Sweden, who started this regular work, it's not manageable. And on the replay, you can see Eric Stark, who totally submarined the boat yesterday. And behind him, you can see one of the Maverick Racing boats go up, and there's Stark again, as he's trying to show off his prowess of driving the boat into the water. But literally, these conditions are unmanageable, and there's no way we're going to be able to run these 18 laps, Jonathan, which is a real shame for these 100,000 plus fans who have come here for race number 2. Now, we ran the first race of the day, which was fantastic, but here in race number 2, it's just doesn't seem to be able to work today.
Yeah, but Bartek Marzowak, the Polish driver, he's still out there, Steve. He's hanging on, and he's thinking, hang on a minute here, they're going to call this race, I want to make sure that I'm in the lead boat, because he may get some points for competing out here this afternoon, picking up Jonas Andersen there, 2-time world champion, and my goodness, I cannot believe what they must be going through around the circuit, Steve. I mean,
we've done this before, Jonathan. We had this problem in St. Petersburg years ago, the green flag out there. So some drivers are giving up the ghost, including the world champion Sean Trente, and that boat number 1 you see in the distance in the background. And it looked like the young driver from the Netherlands got out on the water, Ferdinand Zandbergen, and he's calling it quits. So slowly but surely, these drivers are saying enough is enough, and Kali Vipo is parking his boat. As you look out and you see the CTIC China leader out there, that's Peter Moran from Rouen, France. He's taken over the number 1 spot because his ex-father-in-law, Philippe Schepp, a 3-time world champion, went out in glory when he won his final race ever of his career back in December in Sharjah, and he had a Cinderella season, wrapped things up, and then retired and turned the reins of his number 1 boat over to Peter Moran, who is out there. There's Philippe Schepp. There's the 3-time world champion, who was got his first win 10 years ago in Kiev, Jonathan, in the 2012 series, but that was a match race.
Yeah, Steve, most of the boats are actually coming into the pontoon. They realize it is totally impossible to
make a move. Torrente on the outside and 2, and Torrente is fighting to get himself into that number 1 spot as the green flag is officially out, as the field of drivers come whistling around. Bartek Marzowak trying to stay up into that first place position, and he got a great start. Look at the Polish driver pull away here 10 laps in, or 10 seconds ahead, as he got around turn number 8. Torrente's about 10 boat lengths back. Stelio is pushing hard. He started 4th. He's up into 3rd, and then a 2-boat battle between Stark and Jonas Andersen for that 4th place position.
What a start by Bartek Marzowak, the young Polish driver there. He's doing everything he needs to win this race. Came off the line. I think he was running a slightly bigger propeller than Sean Torrente, who seemed to have the legs on him. But as he increased in speed, he had a bigger propeller, more top-end speed, and he was able to get into that first turn just ahead of Torrente and start making his way forward. He's got clear water ahead of him, Steve, for a while. This is where he could really make up some ground.
All right, you can see Jonas Andersen trying to push up on Eric Stark, but Stark is able to pull away. Jonas Andersen dropping back. I wonder if the 2021 world champion may have a bit of a problem here, but he comes charging up on the outside. A good battle going on for 4th place, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think that Jonas has definitely got the legs on Stark there, sitting in 3rd at the moment, and you can see that Jonas is on the outside, Stark's on the inside. Jonas seemed to try and get ahead of him in that last lap. He tried to cut inside him, but he got some dirty water. It got rather rough. He had to back off, and Stark is still holding him off. Yeah, dead right. But look at the way that Bartek Marzowak, he's pulling away from the rest of the field, Steve. This is something that we have not seen for a long time. Torrente hanging on in 2nd, but there he is, Bartek Marzowak, sponsored by Oleh, at the performance that he's putting up this weekend. As you said earlier on, Steve, he's already had 2 podiums. He's been knocking on the door for the last 2 or 3 races, and he is driving his socks off out there. there.
Bartek Marszałek, our leader, starting his 50th race, still looking for his first victory overall. He's got 3 podiums, and he is doing his best to try to make good his escape from the 3-time world champion Sean Trenti, who's hanging right in there. The difference really between the top 5 is not much of a difference in the speed, but the top 3 are really close within 5 seconds of each other.
Yeah, and the good thing for Bartek now is he's got that clear water for probably the next 5 or 6 laps before he starts coming up against the back markers. So this is where he can really open that gap between himself and the Abu Dhabi driver Sean Trenti in that second slot.
0.3 of a second, the margin for Bartek. He has increased that on the world champion. It's up to 3.15 seconds, the difference between first and second. Meanwhile, Trenti has gained a little bit more ground on the third place, Sami Celio, who has dropped back about another half second. And then Eric Stark is 5 seconds back of Celio, with Jonas Andersson just a second behind him. So very close, the top 3. Then there's a bit of a split between 4 and 5.
Yeah, Jonas then, he certainly hasn't given up, but he's under pressure from Peter Moran, the French driver, who's pushing for all he's worth. We do know that French boat has got some serious pace out there. Watch out for the number 7 boat in the next 2 or 3 laps.
As we look at Peter Moran, the veteran driver who has replaced his ex-father-in-law, 3-time world champion Philippe Shep, who stepped aside, and they brought on the American Brent Dillard out of South Carolina. The 36-year-old rookie's in the number 8 boat, but all eyes are on the number 7 machine, as this 43-year-old out of Rouen, France, is right up there where he's happy to be up in the point structure. He's in the top 6 right now, as Jonas Andersson, this is the second time he's run this boat in 6 years, believe it or not. So talking with him after qualifying today, he says, yeah, I got to get a feeling for this boat. It's going to take me a while. And right now, 5 laps in, he seems a bit aggressive, and that's great for Jonas Andersson and all his fans that are here cheering him on. He missed the World Championship last year by 10 laps. He had the championship in his pocket. He almost became a 2-time world champion, but for the first time in all of 2022, he had a mechanical problem. He dropped out with just 10 laps to go, and Sean Trenti, who had been in a tremendous crash, was sitting with wet clothing on in the paddock, all of a sudden realized that, hey, I'm the new world champion.
Yeah, start watching him in his mirrors there. As you can see, Jonas comes through the right-hander, takes a tighter line. The problem is, when you take the tighter line, you tend to scrub off a little bit of speed, but he's still there with him. You can see Stark there, turning tight on the boys, watching every move of Jonas. It looks like, to me, like Stark knows exactly where he is, and he knows what to do to hold up the pressure that Jonas is putting on him.
Oh, no, it looks like Marit Stromoy is dropping out, the teammate of Bartek Marszałek. Marit Stromoy, who had qualified in the 10th spot, has dropped out. That's not a good sign for Stromoy Racing. But while we watch this battle here, in that battle for 4th place, oddly enough now, Trenti is shaving that down. The distance between first and second, the real estate's getting smaller and smaller. It's now 2 seconds. So he's gained 1.3 technical in nature, and the drivers really have to focus on their lines, because if you get offline, you're going to lose a lot of time. And again, this battle between 2 Swedes, Eric Stark and Jonas Andersson, continues to heat up down in that 4th place between the 2 drivers, which is now just a matter of a second separating those 2.
I think if Jonas was able to get ahead of him, he'd have a bit of clear water and he'd pull away from him. But as you can see, look, as Stark turns there, Jonas is getting all the wash and the spray, and finding it quite difficult to actually see as he tries to improve and close that gap with Stark.
Philippe Shep, there you see second alone. This is his brother-in-law, or I should say his ex-son-in-law out there running, Peter Moran. And the driver from Rouen is starting his 27th race, still looking for his first victory. He's got 3 podiums, and he's a good qualifier, but getting him up there. Now, really, Peter Moran, in the past, he's been 7 top 5s in his last 11 races, so he knows how to finish up in the top 5. He's doing his best to do it right now. He's in his 6th spot.
You know, we said a 3-lap dash, and that's basically what it was. And you can see now that Bartek, he just didn't quite get the pace that he wanted on that restart. Sean Trenti pounced on him and took the lead of the race.
Here on the final lap now, we hold our breath with just 3 more corners to go. Sean Trenti now, a team flag. We're back underway in less than 2 laps to go, and here we go. The battle for the front is on in earnest. Trenti on the outside, trying to push as hard as he can with Bartek. Forced to go wide. Trenti slides around the corner. Now side by side. Trenti has the inside lane for the right-hander, Jonathan. Oh, let's see what happens. Can this Cinderella story continue for Bartek, or will Trenti end it in dreams and tears for the drive for Poland? And Sean Trenti, the 3-time world champion, with less than a lap and a half to go, has taken over the lead on the restart.
Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency, Mr. Joko Widodo, to present the trophy to our winner for F1H2O World Championship Grand Prix Indonesia. Kita berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah untuk Bartek Marszałek from Poland. Hadirin sekalian, sekarang waktunya untuk berfoto bersama pemenang. Kami persilahkan to all dignitaries untuk berfoto bersama seluruh pemenang. We invite to all dignitaries to join the winners for the last applause and official picture. Hadirin sekalian, boleh sekali lagi kita berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah untuk all the winners for F1H2O World Championship Grand Prix Indonesia. Kami ucapkan terima kasih kepada Presiden Republik Indonesia, Bapak Joko Widodo, yang telah berkenan